Hello everyone, my name is ClickFlow and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Thrive Guide. I hope you guys are doing fine on this day that you're watching this, whenever you're watching it. We are back in the Thrive Guide again today, and as you can see, we've been doing a ton of work on this great hall here, and I think it is looking rather fine. As you can see, it's quite the ominous looking structure compared to some of the other buildings that we've made. I mean, this industrial building was pretty big, but this thing dwarfs that. I just love it. It's looking really good. We've got the main building right here, and then the tower that kind of extends above that. And I'm going to be putting like a dome over the top of that has like sections of glass to allow natural light through. I'm really excited, and I think it's coming along rather well. But yeah, I'm excited to be back in today's episode. In today's episode, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different than just working on some more progress and things like that. I have been running into some problems, and most of those are primarily happening in here, where the super smelter is. As you can see, we've got lots of material to be smelted, a bunch of different material that we need to be smelted, and we even have it backlogged up in here with netherrack. I've been wanting to smelt down some nether brick as well as some sand to get a bunch more glass that we're going to need as well, but we really don't have a good source of fuel. I've pretty much expended all of my coal and other fuel that we have had set up. So I've been thinking about what we could do about that to set up a farm in which we are collecting automatic fuel. And I think the answer to that is going to be kelp. And I know that might not be necessarily what you are thinking, but a kelp block, kelp, when it's collected and smelted down, can be crafted into a dry kelp block, and that kelp block can then smelt 20 items, as compared to a coal block, where a single piece of coal can only smelt 8 items. So you can actually smelt quite a bit more with your kelp. And so, and kelp can be farmed automatically, which is rather nice. And I can kind of demonstrate my thoughts on the design for this kelp farm. It should be small enough that we can fit it in our industrial building right next to our super smelter, so I'm pretty excited about that. But basically for this, we're going to need an observer, some redstone dust, a piston, and then some water, of course, but we can get all of those guys out in our inventory like this, and basically we're going to have a just some block that the kelp will be planted next to, and this is all going to be underwater. And then we're going to have a piston right there, and then on top of that an observer not facing that way, facing this way, so that the face of the observer will be detecting any block updates right here, and then it will output a redstone signal onto a dot of redstone right there, which will power this block, which will power this piston. So if we update that block, you can see it fires a single time and will harvest the kelp block. So basically, if we have kelp here and it grows up once, it won't be harvested, but if it grows up a second time, then it will update this observer block, activating this redstone and powering this block, and then powering the piston, which will break all of the kelp and then harvest them automatically that way. So anyway, I'm pretty excited about doing this. I'm pretty excited about setting this up. It should be a relatively easy and cheap farm. You might ask what we are going to be doing about item collection, and honestly that's going to be relatively simple, because if we were to make this a farm, we could just block this off like this and then place water inside of it. It has to be water sources all the way through, but we can place water inside of this, and then when the kelp is broken, the items, the kelp items, will actually float to the surface. We can have them float to the surface, and then they will be pushed by a single water stream that will flow into a series of hoppers, and those hoppers will then pull them along down a chain into a smoker where they will be smelted down into dried kelp, and then we can craft them into our fuel that we need. So it's going to be relatively simple, I think. I don't think it's going to be too difficult of a process. But yeah, we're just going to have to go ahead and build a bunch of them up. So I'm going to take my redstone box into there, and I'm going to go ahead and try and build up the framework of what I think we're going to need. And I will bring you guys back in so I can explain how the larger system apparatus will work, and I can show you guys how that system will be put together. Alright, and as you can see, we've done a bit of work here, and this is kind of the bare bones of how this system will work. Right here is just one little cell. As you can see, we're going to plant the kelp there, and then it'll be broken by that row of observers behind there. And then I just extended it up another cell, so there's 4 cells in total in which we're going to be building this up. Of course, as you can see, I haven't put in the glass walls or anything, but we do have the collection mechanism pretty much set up. It's just those hoppers right above the top. After the walls are all in place and all the water is in, then at the top we're just going to place a flowing water stream using some blocks, and then we'll remove those blocks so that the items can flow up through into that water stream and then be pushed over into those hoppers, and those will go directly into a smelter, a smoker, which will smelt them and then deposit them into some chests, and we'll probably extend those chests downwards so that we can have lots of storage. But yeah, it's really not too complex of a design. As you can see, it's a little bit expensive because of the pistons and of the observers, but it should be a fairly efficient farm. And then this will produce a bunch of fuel and it's right next door to our super smelter. And that really kind of completes the room. I'm really happy about that. We have our fungus farm, super smelter, and then now a kelp/fuel farm that I'm really excited about. I'm going to be doing a live stream just in a few minutes as of the time of this recording, so I'm going to probably cut away and get all of the rest of this built up during that live stream. Maybe we'll do some other work, and then I'll bring you guys back in when we're about ready to plant in the kelp and demonstrate how the system all works. Hello everyone, welcome back. We just finished up the live stream again as of the time of this recording, and if we come up here, of course we have our super smelter, and then we have a wall of kelp. And it is working fantastic. I've already crafted a bunch of it into kelp blocks and used it to smelt this a little bit. There was only like 20 kelp blocks, so pretty good, honestly, pretty good source of fuel. The system itself has run out of fuel. I'm gonna need to re-smelt that, but as you can see, it's starting to collect a decent amount of kelp. This was relatively easy to put together. We just put a glass wall around where we were going to put the dirt, and then just kept the water in. This top part, to get the water to flow over the top and then onto the hoppers, what we had to do is we had to place blocks in front of those hopper faces, an entire floor of them in between the hopper faces. I mean the hoppers and the observer faces. And then we placed down our water against that wall on top of those observers, and so that allowed the water to flow over the top of those blocks and then onto the hoppers. Then we had to remove those blocks in between the hoppers and the observer faces and then fill in those blocks with water again so that it was full blocks of water. Honestly, it was kind of painful a little bit with how the system ended up putting in the kelp and everything, and building up the actual system was relatively simple and easy. It was just a matter of placing some blocks, some pistons, some observers, some dirt, and some redstone, a redstone dot behind it. Really quite simple. And then just connect all the hoppers up with this smoker. So simple design, but placing in the water sources was quite painful. What I would recommend if you guys want to build this in your Bedrock worlds would be to go get some ice and then place ice in all of these places, and then go through and then break them individually one by one, so that you could collect, so that you can ensure that all of them are full water sources before you go ahead and activate the farm. Because we did put in all the kelp blocks after we thought it was fully full of water. There was no flowing water sources. But then we could, after letting it run for a while, there was some stagnant pieces of kelp, so that you could tell that there was water forcing them downwards, and we had to go in and fix that. So like I said, if you're building this in your worlds, I recommend that you use ice blocks. You just place the ice everywhere and then break the ice to ensure that everything is a full water source. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this episode. It's kind of been a short one, but it has definitely been a fulfilling and enjoyable one. I hope you guys liked this look into automatic kelp farming and automatic fuel production, so that we have a renewable source of fuel so that we can power our super smelter over there. I hope you guys liked this, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel for some more content. I think that's going to be all from me. My name has been ClickFlow, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye for now.